Sorry lads, I'm actually giggling because I just started recording the second episode and I wasn't actually recording. I got about 10 minutes in and was like, wait, did I ever click record? So let's try this again and hopefully it's a little bit better because I've already done most of it. Not most of it, but you know what I mean. For the audio listeners, I am sitting like a frat boy for some reason, like really cocky, like man spreading. Oh, and also, I have my Jellycat here today. His name is Manila. For the visual listeners, you guys can see him. Visual listeners? Is that a thing? And for the audio listeners, here's a little bit of what he sounds like. Can you hear that? It's like Jellycat beans. If you know, like if you have a Jellycat, then you know they're all filled with beans. And who doesn't love someone that's filled with beans? Anyway, I'm really grateful that I actually made it to a second episode. And I know what you're thinking, what are you talking about? Like, 2 episodes, that's not a big deal. It's a big deal to me, lads, because, let me just double check this is recording. Yeah, alright. It's a big deal to me, lads, because having ADHD and BPD, I feel like I get infatuated with things, like little projects and stuff, and I don't actually follow them through or I don't stick to them. But here I am doing a second episode and I'm thinking, wow, look at me go. Proud of myself. And I've had such nice comments and messages and support from people all over the place and it's just been so wonderful. And it really means a lot to me. So thank you if you've come back for a second listen. Does that mean that you guys don't mind the lisp? By the way, my nose is blocked today, so I'm really sorry if you can hear that and you can hear my ridiculous breathing because I honestly sound like Darth Vader. Not that I've seen Star Wars, but you know, we all know. And I feel like my lisp is really lisping today. Like, you know, with a blocked nose and a lisp, I don't know why I'm podcasting, but here we are. You know what word I find really difficult to say is thesaurus. Like if I was to put it into a sentence and say, hey, can you pass me for goodness sake, hey, can you pass me the thesaurus, please? Like, that's just ridiculous. Maybe it is getting across clearly, but it's a struggle for me. I'm using every atom in my body to say that word. Sorry, I didn't even say. Today we're going to be chit-chatting about modelling and how I became a silly little model, if you're interested. Well, let's start off with, I think I was about 18 and I was out and about for my friend's birthday. I think we were in Brixton at some bar and there was an upstairs and a downstairs and I kept going downstairs for some reason. I don't know, maybe I was using the bathroom. And this woman kept staring at me. Like, not in a confrontational way, but obviously me with anxiety and paranoia was like, oh my God, is she going to fight me? No, but I was not the kind of person to walk up to someone and be like, can I help you? Why are you staring at me? So I just let it happen. And thank golly I did, because this woman comes over to me and she stops me and she gives me her card. She's like, hey, I'm actually a head scout for ASOS and I'd love for you to come in for a casting. And my goodness, thank God I didn't go up to her and be all confrontational because that was my dream. My dreams were happening for me, lads. Like I said in the last one, as a little girl, I have always wanted to be a model and I always thought, oh, don't be so silly, Fuzzy, like, you're too short, you don't have the face for it, you've got no confidence in you, grow up. But there it was happening for me. This woman came over and scouted me. I was amazed. I was so happy. And I obviously had my friends around me and they were like, wow, that's so cool. And I actually begged my best friend at the time, who was there with me when I got scouted, to come with me to the ASOS casting because I was shaking in my little boots. As a girl with no confidence and social anxiety, I had to drag my best friend with me to the casting. I had to email ASOS and be like, hey, is it okay if I bring a friend? Because I'm super scared, like... So I dragged my friend with me. I went in for a casting and we did a little test shoot. And I have never done anything like this before. I was literally just a girl off the street and they took me into a studio. This big ass studio, big lights, big cameras, loads of people. And they asked me to just step on set and start posing. And this big flash went off. And that's when it hit me. I was like, oh my God, I need to get my shit together. So I just start walking around the set, posing, trying to be all like fancy pantsy, pouting, and it seemed to work because they offered me a contract. How crazy is that? ASOS offered me a contract to work for them. work with them, work with them, for them. You get it. But I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't understand how to pose, how to model clothes. I didn't know anything. This is just me like being a girl off the street. Long story short, they ended up offering me a contract, and luckily I did not take it because I didn't realize at the time, but when you are offered a contract from someone like ASOS, they want you to be a model for them and only them. And I thought, wow, that's so cool. But I didn't understand that if I signed with an agency, I could work for ASOS and many other brands. So thank gosh I had someone in my life who advised me of all of this. And I actually had an agency reach out to me and say, hey, we'd love to sign you. And I thought, oh my God, it's happening again. So I ended up signing with that agency, who were not it, by the way. They were terrible. I'm just going to say, I'm so sorry. They treated me like crap. No, I will not be naming names. Things were not going well at that agency. But I only know that looking back now because of all the experiences that I have had. Like when I was signed to that agency at first, I thought, wow, this is so cool. Like, oh, this is just how things are. The modeling industry is like this, and this is how they treat their models. I didn't know that things could be better, so I just assumed that it was the best. I only lasted at that agency, I think, a year, maybe not even, because I did a couple jobs for them and they never actually paid me. And I was getting very, very anxious and annoyed and didn't understand what was going on. And I just assumed, oh, that's how the modeling industry works. I guess you get paid in like a year or something. How ridiculous was I? Listen, I was a kid kicked out of school, no experience. Like I had no reality smack me in the face then. So I needed someone to check in on me and nobody was. So one day I decided to apply to a new agency by myself and just send in my photos and see what they thought of me. And it actually went really well. They emailed back, they asked to meet me, I went to meet them, and they offered me a contract. And I was like, wow, this is so cool. Now I get to sign with a new agency. And so I needed to get out of my old one. And they actually helped me get out of that because otherwise I would have to stay for the whole, you give like a 3 months notice and then you got to stay. But the way that I got out of it was I phoned my old agency and said, hey, I'm actually going to leave you guys because you have never ever paid me. And they like panicked and they were like, no, don't worry. We're going to pay you. We're going to pay you. They paid me the next day. So they had the money all that time. How ridiculous. They just never were actually paying me. They had all my money. So they paid me the next day and I said, thank you, but I'm still leaving. At my old agency, I never met my bookers. I never went into the agency to just hang out and chit chat to them and get to know everyone. And I thought that was normal until I joined my new agency and I fell in love with my bookers. Not literally, I wasn't like, whatever. I adored them. They were so much fun. They were so sweet to me. Everything was going so well and life genuinely was the best. I used to go into my agency and just chill with them and chit chat, and it was super nice and I felt really comfortable. Also, actually, something I never mentioned is when I first signed to my first agency, I think that they assumed that I was already a model or that I had been modeling of sort, because they used to just send me to jobs. Like I used to get an email with a date and a time and it would just be like, here's your job, go. And I don't think people realised that I was just a girl off the street. Like I'm just a girl. Because I literally had no experience. They sent me to set and just expected me to go stand in front of all these cameras, all these people, and just start posing and modelling and smiling on camera and knowing what I was doing. And I had no idea. How crazy is that? That they just sent me off and I just had to figure it all out on my own. Which I know people are supposed to do on the first day of a job, but having no experience, I thought they were going to give me some tips or give me a little class on how to model. Nope, nothing. So my modelling journey was me just learning everything by myself. Like I used to go to castings and just figure it out by myself. I went to jobs and just figured it out by myself. I had to go and shoot commercials and just figure it out by myself. Which I found really difficult as someone with social anxiety. My biggest fear is walking into a building. I had this crazy imposter syndrome the whole time I was a model, and one of the biggest things that I couldn't do was walk into a building. Like, let's say when I first got to ASOS and I started working for them, I would arrive there and I would stand outside and I would check my email like 3, 4, 5 times to make sure that I was in the right place at the right time and I hadn't made this all up. How ridiculous. I fully thought that I had made this all up. I was like, wait, what if I just dreamt that I was scouted and these people were emailing me, asking me to come in for a casting or asking me to come in for a shoot? I thought that I was making it up, and I had to get a lot of reassurance from like my friends and obviously reading the emails over and over again, which is kind of sad, but that's just how I was when I was younger. And to be fair, I still do that every now and then. Like sometimes I'll go and meet my friends and I have to double check that I haven't made up that they're my friends. And I'm saying that laughing because it sounds so crazy, but when I go and do my daily tasks, sometimes I do just think like that, and I think it's so weird. I don't know what that is. I'm assuming that's what imposter syndrome is, because I'm going to touch on this again later. So, signing with my new agency was amazing. I really loved my agents and they were so sweet to me. And I was working a lot, like a lot. Sometimes I'd be working Monday to Friday, which I know what you're thinking, what, isn't every job like a Monday to Friday job? No. As a model, sometimes you can work once a month or 18 times a month. Like there's no, well, there is an in between. But sometimes you can be booked and busy, sometimes it can be a really quiet period. And I was busy. I remember like I've met people in my life now who were like, hey, we were trying to book you back then or around this time, but they said that you were booked for like 3 months and there was no availability. And looking back, I was like, wow, look at me go. I was booked and busy. How fun is that? Go little Fuzz, not knowing what she's doing with her social anxiety, wondering if she's made this all up. I'm really proud of myself. Go me. Okay, sorry. And one of the biggest things that I found super difficult as a model was going to castings, because obviously you have to go to a lot of castings, sometimes a day. Sometimes I'd have like 4 castings a day and it was a lot, but the idea of castings in general was so scary. Like, I would just be sent a date and a time and like maybe a little brief or what kind of thing I had to wear. So I would turn up at these castings and there'd be a whole other bunch of models. Sometimes the queue would be like an hour. Sometimes there would be no queue at all. And you would walk in. Sometimes it would be a huge room, and at the end of it was sitting at a table, maybe 3, 4 people sat there with a notepad, and you would walk in and walk up to them, hand your book over, which is like your portfolio, which is like little photos of you from test shoots and headshots, and they would sit and they would flick through the book in silence in front of you, looking at each other going, and like writing notes. And then they'd ask you a few questions like, how old are you? Where are you from? Do you dance? Sorry, the amount of castings I've been to and thought, why on earth am I here? Why have you not asked a dancer? I am a model. I am weird and lanky and awkward, and I'm here for a photo. I do photo shoots. I do not dance. I do not boogie. Sorry, I need to tell you about this. One of the worst castings, not worst because I don't mean worse, one of the most anxiety inducing castings I ever went to was for Valentino, and I got there, and again, it was this big room, big lights, big camera would be filming you, and at the end there was this big table and there was about 4 people sat there, and a guy came over and gave me a brief, and I'm not joking, this is what he said to me. He goes, okay, so I want you to dance like an alien plant. What was I supposed to do with that information? Was I supposed to go, oh yeah, okay, I know that one. Oh yes, I learnt this in school. What? Who? What? What was he on about? And then he gave me like an example, and it was just not what I was thinking at all. But I took that example and I ran with it. They started recording on the camera, they clicked play on the music, and they were like, okay, action. I was about to reenact it, but I can't because that's just too much. I'm really sorry if you were on YouTube and expecting me to do that. I will explain it slightly though. So I started off like squatting on the floor, and then I like wiggled up and put my arms up in the air, like standing up, as if I was like an alien plant wiggling and growing. Does that make sense? And they seem to have liked it because I got the job. Like, I casted it. How crazy is that? I thought, what am I doing here? Is this a joke? Am I on Punk'd? But no, I got the job. But long story short, I went all the way to the job. I got my fitting done and it was cancelled very last minute. But I still got paid because if you cancel within a certain time, you still have to pay the models, which was kind of cool. So I got paid by Valentino even though I didn't do anything. Another awkward casting I've done is I once went to ASOS because usually when I worked with them, I worked in e-com. And if you don't know what e-com is, it's, you know, when you're shopping online and you see all the girls modeling the clothes and all the dresses, that shooting is e-com, so e-commerce. And that's what I usually did. So when they had like commercials or a big campaign, I would have to go in for castings for that. And once I went into ASOS, I love them, by the way, one of my best clients. I went in for a casting and they took me into their wardrobe, and it's not just a cupboard. Whoa, my tummy just made the craziest noise. If it does it again, I'm going to put the mic on it. No, okay. So I went into their cupboard, and I know what you're thinking, it's not like a regular cupboard. ASOS's cupboard is like a big room with all their clothes and stuff. So I went in there for the casting and they took some photos of me. And then they were like, okay, so we need you to dance as if like you're in the club with your friends. And I was like, oh my God, here we go again, another dancing one. So me being the awkward lady that I am, just tried my best. Did a little boogie in front of them, but I need to add this detail in. There was no music. They were like, oh, I'm so sorry, but the speaker's not working. Can you imagine? There's these 3 girls casting me, and they're just standing in front of me, holding an iPhone, filming me, recording me, and they're like, okay, action. And in silence, you could hear my body moving. Like, you could hear the clothes, like, scraping against each other, my bones cracking, like, it was not it. And I had to dance like I was in the club. And I just did the most ridiculous boogie. I don't think I got that job, lads. Looking back, I don't remember doing it. So I don't think I got it, which is fair enough because I cannot dance. Oh, my nose is making a crazy noise. Sorry if you can hear that. I cannot dance to save my life unless it's like an alien plant for Valentino. So yeah. The things that they make you do at castings is abominable. I just keep thinking, every now and then I'll lay awake at night staring at the ceiling thinking, out there somewhere there is a collection of really awkward, weird casting tapes of me. Like, there must be someone who has just files and files of really weird footage of me, either singing or dancing or posing really dramatically. Sorry, singing actually. I don't, this goes along with the dancing thing. I am a model. I do not sing nor dance. Please don't make me do these things. I once went to a Samsung casting for a commercial and they asked me to sing. I am just mortified because, and you know what's funny is that they say you're not a Filipino if you can't sing or dance. I can do neither, so apparently I'm fully white, which I am not jolly about because I'd love to be a Filipino. No, okay. I am actually Filipino, by the way, for those who do not know. I'm not just claiming that I randomly want to be Filipino. Anyway, they gave me this line, and I think it was something along the lines of, no, I'm making this up. It was the same vibe as like, Samsung is the best, like, and I had to sing it, but like quite a long tone. Does that make sense? And I am not a singer, so I had to stand, and I think they asked me to do a twirl as I did it. So they were filming all of this, and that footage is out there somewhere. So I'm just having flashbacks. Give me a minute. Ugh. Oh my god. The embarrassment is unreal. So yeah, but listen, the point is here, if you want to be a model, go in with an open mind and seriously thick skin. Because the things they make you do just do be crazy. And it's not all, oh, can you just do a walk for me? Like a runway walk. Also, sorry, I went to castings and they asked me to do like a runway walk back and forth. And first of all, going in with no experience, I didn't know that I had to do this. And I didn't know that I was supposed to bring heels with me. Sometimes I'd go to castings and there'd be like 100 other girls there and they'd all be either wearing heels or holding a pair of heels. I had no experience. I was just a girl off the street. Nobody gave me any tips or anything. And I was sent to all these castings and I just had to... You know what I did? I faked all of my confidence. And I know what you're thinking, like, what? Were you not just confident? No! I was terrified. So I just put on this horrid facade that I was a really confident girly and I knew exactly what I was doing and I had been modelling for years, and it really actually worked out for me because the amount of jobs that I booked was crazy. But looking back, I was literally just plucked off the street and thrown onto set and expected to just know what to do. And looking back, I think that's nuts. Now I see girls being sent to like model boot camp or going into the agency and having like runway walking examples or training, and I think that's really good because I wish that I had had that. But no, just being yanked off the street, sent to a casting, and then in front of like 100 people being like, okay, can you do a walk now please? And then just having to do a runway model walk in my sneakers, by the way, because I did not bring heels, just back and forth. I felt so exposed. Moving on. I was working a lot when I was younger, and that's actually how I got the money to get my boobs done. I worked 1 week at this brand and it was enough to pay for my boob job, which was amazing. And I think I will be doing an episode on boobies, so, so stay tuned for that one, lads. I'll delve into the details of that one day. But yeah, I was working a lot and I actually got to travel around a lot, which was amazing. I got to go to basically every country in Europe. I got to go to Hong Kong once. How cool is that? But yeah, I'd say one of my favourite trips was when I went to Puma's headquarters in Germany. And I think that we stayed there for about 5 days. And we went, I'm saying we because they booked about 21 models. And we were all going there to do their runway show. Like showing their new collection to all of their clients, I think. But it was like a huge show kind of thing at their headquarters. It was amazing. But we were there for about 5 days and the weather was crazy. It was like 30 degrees, height of summer, and we had to do choreography for this walk and we used to have to practice it. And sometimes we would do it for like 2 hours a day, sometimes we do it for 1 hour, and or for the rest of the day, for the rest of the time, we had nothing to do. It was just us chilling in the middle of nowhere because that's where the headquarters was. It was in this like little village in Germany and there was nothing around us, nowhere we could go. So we just hung out at the headquarters. And if you leave a bunch of models around the same age, like just hot people hanging out together, what do you think is going to happen? Like, come on, grow up. It's the height of summer. Everyone's sweaty. It's hot. It's getting a little steamy. Sorry, no, I'm not going into details. And I don't want to, sorry. I don't want to go to details, but I also don't want you to think the worst. I just meant that people like developed crushes and like there were little flings is what I'm trying to say. Not anything crazy like everyone together. That is not what I meant. And maybe you guys weren't even thinking that and I've just accidentally put that into your head. God, I'm not good at describing things. Anyway, we were completely chaotic, and on the last night that we were there, we decided to all have a drink in the hotel that they had put us in, and we may have gone a little bit out of hand. There were a few pranks played with shaving cream, I think. At least I hope that's what it was. And I actually think that we got the client banned from using that hotel. So sorry about that, lads. Didn't mean that to happen. But we had fun, and thank you for having us. Uh, I remember that trip really well because I actually developed a crush on one of the other models, and it actually worked out for me back then because that's when we got together, like on that trip, and then we became boyfriend and girlfriend. So, oh, cheeky. It ended really terribly, guys. Looking back, I should not have gone near that situation because it ended awfully. No details will be given out, but you know who you are. Not that you will be listening to this. My god, that would be weird. Okay. But yeah, I feel like that happened a lot when I was younger. We would go on trips, or I would be on set with like really pretty models and I would develop a crush. Maybe there'd be some flirting. Because I just feel like it was like that on set. Everyone's in a bit of a cheeky mood, everyone's having fun. We're there sometimes literally just for the day. Like, the amount of times, like, the way that it works is that I never really had work colleagues because sometimes I would go to set, I would work with, let's say, 20 people, like all of the crew, makeup artist, hair, photographer, all that shenanigans. And damn it, I said it again. All that stuff. And you would get to know everyone, but you would probably never ever see them again unless you guys got booked on a job together again somewhere in the near future. But I would learn everyone's names, get to know everyone, it'd be really nice. And like, you might follow each other on Instagram, but there's a very big chance that you will never see that person again. So every day that I went to work, I was working with new people and I would have to introduce myself and start all the way from the beginning. And I know that doesn't sound like a big deal, but as someone with social anxiety, that was so much for me to deal with. Every day I went to work, I had to be like a brand new smiley person. I couldn't be like, hey guys, I'm having a bad day today, because I had just met these people and I wanted to give them a good first impression. So yeah, I found that really difficult, but I pushed through, and I feel like that's part of the reason why people were a bit cheeky and flirty. I'm not saying that the industry is like this, I'm just saying that I was like this with a few other models or a photographer or something because it was fun. Like, I got to meet someone for the day and then never see them or never speak to them again, and I thought it was fun. But yeah, if you've ever wondered if models just get together on set, you know what? Yeah, maybe we do sometimes. Maybe we do. Or I did. Not anymore. So I had this regular client where I worked like Monday to Friday up in Manchester, and I had to go there like Sunday night to be there Monday morning, and I would leave Friday. So I'd spend 6 out of 7 days of a week in Manchester. So I basically lived there in a hotel. And it was kind of amazing. I'd have breakfast every morning. Sometimes I would have my boyfriend at the time come up and visit me. And my mum, I got her a ticket to come, like a train ticket to come and visit me and stay in my hotel for a couple of days, which was like £200, by the way. Sometimes a train to Manchester can be an insane amount. How crazy is that? £200 for a train from London to Manchester. Anyway, I loved this client and I did their e-com, which is why I worked there Monday to Friday. And then I ended up doing a lot of their campaigns. And I actually did a big campaign for them when they released their Barbie collection. And it was so crazy because I shot a couple campaigns for them actually, or a few. And every time I did it, it was like me and maybe 3 to 4 other models. And then, this is crazy, one of the campaigns I did, I shot with 2 other models, so there were 3 of us, and in the end they only used photos of me. Like, they literally just used photos of me and that was it. And they put them all over billboards in London, Manchester, so I'm assuming England in general, and they were on every tube stop, every bus stop. They were just there, everywhere. And I started having these really weird feelings. And I kept thinking, what the frick is going on? I definitely am on Punk'd now. Because everywhere I went, I saw my face. Like, it was super weird, and I couldn't understand why they had chosen me. Like, I had shot with 2 other models. Like, there were group pics even, and they cut them all out of the campaign, and it was just pictures of me. And I found it super weird, but like in a cool, good way. But this is when my imposter syndrome really, really kicked in, because I thought, oh my God, like I'm making this up, or someone's pranked me, or someone close to me is super rich and they've paid off the brand to like put my posters all over London. It was just crazy. Like literally every tube stop had a photo of me, and they were up for ages, and then they were at bus stops too, and like billboards when you're driving down the motorway, or like at Westfield, the big shopping centre, they had like big screens and it was pictures of me. I couldn't fathom it. I couldn't understand what was going on. And it just really freaked me out, but in the best way possible. I remember crying when I first saw all of it. And once at Shepherd's Bush, they've got these giant screens. There was this advert or photos of me that just constantly played, and I made my boyfriend at the time drive me there and drive round the roundabout so I could get pictures and videos of it. I was so proud, and my mum was so proud as well. It was super sweet. We went to the store, we went to shopping malls, and we all took pictures like at tube stops and stuff where there were all my posters, and it was just incredible. It was an amazing feeling. But to this day, still, I don't understand why it was me. Like, why was I chosen? Because I've never really, and I don't think I still now do, believe in myself fully. Like, I just couldn't understand why would I be chosen. Like, I thought I was running on pure luck. It never occurred to me that maybe I was actually good at my job and like what I'm doing is really cool and good and I'm getting shit right, if that makes sense. I don't know. Anyway, moving on, like a year or 2 later, this actually happened. This doesn't feel like that long ago. I think this happened like a year and a half ago now. I was booked to shoot for a job in Germany, and it was for ecom. And long story short, I was kicked off set for being too big because I had put on weight. Like, I felt so embarrassed and so shamed, and I felt like I didn't know who I was, because I thought, if I am not a model, who am I and what do I have? Because that was the only job I had ever had. So this brand had flown me out to Berlin, and I was shooting ecom for them, and I was booked Monday to Friday, and I shot for them on Monday. Things were going okay. The clothes were feeling a little tight because, yes, I had put on weight. But I thought, okay, I'm still rocking this. I look great. Tuesday rolls around, and in the morning, I turn up to the studio again. I'm sitting in hair and makeup, and one of the person who looks after all the models comes over to me, and she's like, hey, we actually don't need you for today, so, you can go back to your hotel and chill, and we might put you on a different project. And I was like, oh, okay. Didn't really understand what was going on, but sure. She then turns to the makeup artist and tells her what's going on. I am still currently sat there, so I don't know what's going on. And in my experience, whenever I've gone to Germany, they have been pretty blunt about things. And she just looked at the makeup artist and she was like, yeah, we're going to go with a smaller model. And I was like, oh, okay, I get it. I kind of wish, because of the way that it was said, that it was kind of just said to my face, because it was kind of said to my face, just not to me. But I remember that, and I can still feel that feeling. I packed up my stuff, I went back to my hotel, and I just cried so hard. I felt so ashamed. I felt so embarrassed. I was like so hard on myself, thinking, what have I done? I've ruined my job. Which is crazy to think, like putting on weight ruined my job or ruined my opportunities. Like, I know that that's what the modelling industry kind of is like. Like, I wasn't fitting into sample size. That's just how things were, unfortunately. But it was just a lot to take in as like a young girl. Well, I wasn't that young, but, still, as a girl, a little anxious girl. It was just a lot. And I feel really sad for myself because it's in the past now, but I just wish I could go back and give her a hug and say it's going to be okay. Because I was so worried and I felt so embarrassed to tell my agents and just, yeah. So it wasn't fully said to me, but I got the gist. I was kicked off set for being too big. For being a little chubby, which is a shame, but it is what it is. Also, another time on set, I booked a job up in Manchester and the brand got my train and I think they got me a hotel as well. And I went up and they didn't have a budget for makeup artists, so I had to do my own makeup. And I am not a makeup girly, but they sent a photo to my agents and said, can she please do her makeup like this? They had taken a photo of me from set, booked with another client, where the client had put me in hair and makeup for 2 hours. They sent me a photo of me that had been in makeup for 2 hours. And they said, hey, can you do this please? No, I cannot do that. I'm just an average girly who barely knows how to put eyeliner on. Like, I was just not that kind of girly pop. Like, I didn't know how to do makeup in that sense. So I just tried my best. I did my everyday makeup and I turned up. And as I got there, with my makeup all ready and done, excited to shoot, the lady comes up to me, comes to get me to take me to set. She's like, do you want to go get ready and put your makeup on? What? I was so embarrassed. I had to look at her and say, I am ready. I've already got my makeup on. She looked at me and thought, oh, this girl has not been made up yet. I was so embarrassed. It was so sad. God, I really want to go back and give past young modelling me a great big hug and just say I'm so sorry, but you need seriously thick skin for this industry. Also, I did a little Q&A on my Instagram story, so I've got some questions that I'm going to answer from you guys, which is really sweet. Thank you so much for sending them in. So, a few questions from you guys is, I'm going to just pick a few. Do you think it's important to have Instagram for being a model? Yes, I do think it's important because obviously you get a bigger platform to expose yourself and be like, hey guys, I'm a model, please book me. And also, I remember one time I actually deleted Instagram. Imagine this. I deleted my Instagram and thought, that's it, I'm done. I'm no longer going to be on social media. And I just quit. And then I got an email from my agents one day and was like, hey, you need social media for your job. And if you're not interested in having it, we are going to run one for you. And I thought, thank you, but absolutely bloody not. Like, nope. You know what? It's fine. I'm sorry. I'll come back to Instagram. But I don't know where I would be without Instagram right now. So thank gosh they made me come back. Is modelling a financially stable career path? Look. I'm laughing, and if you're a model as well, you'll be giggling too, because it is amazing money. It's great, but you don't get paid that often. The way the industry works is sometimes you get paid like once every 2 months or something, but it is good money. I will say that. How to find an agency? Well, I found my agency by just looking up them on Instagram, seeing the kind of models they had, see if I fit the vibe. And I took some headshots, did a few photo shoots with friends and stuff, and I sent in all of my photos to multiple agencies. Actually, every agency that I wanted, I actually sent my photos in and said, hey, do you want to sign me? So honestly, just take the leap, just try it, do it. You'll never know what will come from it. How often do you got to shave your body? When I was working Monday to Friday, I had to shave every single day. Like, I would wake up every morning at like 6 a.m. and shave my whole body. So yeah, whenever I had a job, I would shave because, yeah, I wanted to. Do what you wanna, lads. What happens if you get a spot or you're on your period and you're bloated? Babe, there is nothing you can do. You just gotta push through. You just gotta get there, tell the makeup artist, babe, I've got this massive zit on my face, can you please do something about it? And when it comes to getting on set and you're bloated, babe, just, I don't know, suck in. Or let it all out. Whatever you like. there's nothing you can do. You can't just call up in the morning and be like, hey, I'm not feeling my best or I'm not feeling myself. Like, the amount of times when I have felt awful looking in the mirror, but I've just had to turn up on set and stand in front of a camera and just smile and be all like, woohoo, love myself. Like, you just gotta fake it till you make it. I'm really sorry, but that's the only advice I've got there. What do you eat before a shoot and on set? Ooh, I like this one. To be honest, when I modeled Monday to Friday, I used to treat myself so often. Like, I would order like a huge Chinese meal the night before and just go crazy on it because I thought, oh, look at me, I'm booking a job, I'm gonna make some money. So I would just treat myself. And like, I kind of just always thought my body is my body. They've booked me, I've booked the job. There's nothing they can do about it now. If I turn up bloated, they still have to use me. Which, looking back, is probably not the right mindset. And what do you eat on set? It kind of ranges. Sometimes you'll go and the client will be like, hey, what do you want for lunch? We can order in. And I will always choose Wagamama's because it's such a comfort food. Everyone enjoys it. Everyone likes something from Wags. But there would be times when they would have a catering service on set and it would be like salads and like quinoa and healthy fresh food, which is probably better, but I did not love it as much as I loved Wags.
Which brand has treated you best? You know what? I am going to go ahead and say Missguided. I loved working for them. It was always so much fun. And it was such like family vibes when we worked in the studio. We would go for lunch together every day, like in the canteen. And even though we'd be sitting at a tiny table, whenever a girl came over, we'd be like, oh, everyone move up. And we'd all squeeze onto one table. It'd be really sweet. And once I remember I was on vacation and they needed me for a campaign, so they flew me from my vacation back to London to shoot this campaign and then flew me back to my vacation. How sweet. Like, most brands would be like, nah, screw you. What's your advice for castings? I feel like I've already gone through this, but honestly, fake it till you make it. Exude confidence, be bubbly, and just be yourself. And go up to the casting director and be like, hey, lovely to meet you, I'm Fuzz. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you for letting me be here today. What's your favourite type of modelling? I think I've said this, but I do love ecom. I just love being in a studio and getting to work with the same people every day. Like I said, it's very rare that you get to work with the same people. So if you're booked for like a week doing ecom, you get to hang out with the same people and actually make friends and chit chat. And it's really sweet. So yeah. Okay, I'm going to do 3 more questions. Does it make you more or less confident in yourself? I mean, considering everything that I've spoken about, I feel like in general it does make me more confident because I'm faking it till I make it, as in like I am forcing myself to be confident, but then also the whole imposter syndrome thing where I'm like, wait, none of this is real. I don't understand why I've been chosen, why they're using me. I'd say overall it makes me more confident. Although I do get really awkward when people ask, like, are you a model? Or what do you do? And I have to say, like, oh, sometimes I model. It just feels like such a weird thing to say. Like, I wish I could just be like, hey, I'm a lawyer. No, I don't know why I said that. I don't want to be a lawyer. Okay. How tall are you? I am 5'6", which I think is like 168 centimetres. Don't quote me there. I think I might be wrong there, lads. And last question, are visible scars an issue for shoots? I don't think so, because obviously I have quite visible scars along my arm, and it's never been an issue. Not that I know of. It could have been an issue. Like, there's chances that clients would have seen that and been like, no, we're not going to hire her, and I just don't know about it. But I've done jobs where my scars are visible, and they've asked me afterwards for like final edit if they want me to get them to edit them out or not, which I think is really sweet. And I always say no, leave them in, like they're a part of me. So yeah, I don't think they're an issue. Anyway, thank you lads for coming back for season 2. Bloody hell, we did a big jump there. For episode 2, I'm really grateful. And if you could leave me a little 5-star review if you like it, or any type of review, or if you're on YouTube, please like and subscribe. Sorry to be that person, but it does really help me and I would appreciate it. Anyway, say it with me, lads. Have a good day or else. I love ya.
Mwah.